Have you ever been asked, why are you so quiet? Why don't you come out more? Are you okay? They think something's wrong with you because you're not loud, because you don't seek the crowd, because your silence makes them uncomfortable. But stillness is not a symptom, it's a stance. An alpha is not lonely, and he is not hiding. He doesn't crave isolation. He simply doesn't fear it. He chooses moments others avoid, moments with no noise, no audience, no applause. Because he knows if you can't sit with yourself, you'll never lead anyone else. That's what unsettles them. It begins where ambition meets silence. A founder stares at his whiteboard, charts, goals, strategy, but no connection. Something's missing. A man closes a big deal. Applause fades. Later that night, silence speaks louder than success. A consultant moves from city to city, surrounded by handshakes, and yet untouched. These are the quiet gaps no one talks about, but they're everywhere. Some feel it only sometimes. Others carry it daily, a dull ache no one else notices. And there are those who are alone by choice, the ones we call lone wolves. They spend days without a word, and yet they do not crumble. We misunderstand them. What looks like detachment is often discipline. Not everyone who walks alone is lost. But make no mistake, this isn't a call to isolation. This is about understanding how an alpha moves through solitude and silence, not as escape, but as alignment. The discomfort we call loneliness isn't always about being alone. Often it's the gap between who we are and who we pretend to be. We wear noise like armor, music, meetings, group chats, anything to avoid the quiet. Because in silence, we hear what we've suppressed. Ask yourself, why does stillness make me uneasy? Why do I chase connection that drains me? When did I lose the ability to sit with my own thoughts? Paul Tillich once said, language has created the word loneliness to express the pain of being alone, and the word solitude to express the glory of being alone. Solitude isn't weakness, it is a mirror. And for those who choose to look, it becomes strength. Erich Fromm once said, the ability to be alone is the condition for the ability to love. Most people read that and nod, but few understand it. Because we've been conditioned to believe that being alone is a failure, that it means something went wrong. But here's what really happens. You wake up to your calendar already full. You check in, check off, check out. You're efficient, reliable, respected. But the spaces in between, they echo. You fill every silence with podcasts, with people, with productivity. You say yes, not because you want to, but because empty time feels like lost time. Until one day you realize you're constantly in motion and still feel stuck. You're constantly surrounded and still feel unseen. You're constantly delivering and still feel disconnected, and it clicks. You haven't been present in your own life for a while. You don't fear being alone. You've just forgotten what it feels like to truly be with yourself. And that's where the shift begins. Because the alpha doesn't wait for clarity, he hunts it. He doesn't avoid his own mind, he meets it head on. No one else can fully understand what he carries, so he takes responsibility for knowing himself first. This isn't passive reflection, it's an active decision, a discipline, and that's the edge, the one others sense but can't name. Because if you can't sit with yourself, listen to yourself, lead yourself, how can you lead anyone else? Fromm wasn't talking about loneliness. He was talking about depth, about clarity, discipline, wholeness. And if he were here today, an alpha might reply,
love built on fear of solitude isn't love. It's escape. I didn't learn to love by seeking others. I learned it by sitting in silence, facing the truth without rescue. Only then did I become someone worth offering to the world.
this is not about escaping people. This is about returning to presence, to the part of you that doesn't need performance to exist. Not just romantic love, love for truth, for craft, for self. Because if you can't be with yourself in silence, what exactly are you offering the world? If you're afraid to be alone, your relationships become transactions. You'll cling, you'll perform, you'll vanish into others. Carl Jung wrote, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." Most people spend their lives looking outward, at metrics, at money, at validation, at what others expect. But there's a moment, and it comes quietly, when you realize none of that made you stronger. Just busier. The alpha understands. Depth does not arrive by chance. It arrives when you stop distracting yourself from yourself. This isn't about stepping away from life. It's about stepping into clarity. Inner space doesn't feel like a breakthrough. It feels like stillness. It's the shift from performing to perceiving, from reacting to choosing, from proving who you are to remembering it. There is no ceremony, no announcement, just a sense that finally you're in the right place, even if no one else is there with you. Because sometimes the most powerful alignment happens in the quiet. That's where the alpha begins to lead. Not from noise, but from presence.
Why do I feel so empty when I'm alone? I thought solitude was supposed to bring clarity.
Because you're not alone by choice. You're disconnected. Solitude is chosen. Loneliness is imposed.
What's the difference?
Solitude is not the absence of noise. It's the presence of truth.
So how do I find it? That presence?
You don't find it. You build it. Slowly, quietly, in the moments no one else sees.
But how will I know when it's real?
When the silence no longer feels empty. When it starts to feel honest, like a room you no longer want to leave.
Before we talk about routines, ask yourself, do you have a space that belongs only to you? A place where you don't perform, don't explain, don't prove anything? A place that holds stillness, not because it's empty, but because it's yours. This is your solitude space. It's not about furniture, it's about intention. It's where reflection is not a luxury, but a ritual. Leonardo da Vinci had his notebooks, pages filled with questions, sketches, fragments of thought. That was his. Nikola Tesla sat in silence for hours, not to retreat, but to calculate, to imagine, to build. Marcus Aurelius wrote before sunrise, not for the world, but to return to himself. These men didn't need retreats. They claimed their own ground. Your solitude space could be a chair by the window, a trail through the trees, a locked room for 15 minutes. It's not where you hide. It's where you meet yourself. Undistracted, unfiltered, unperformed. Guard it, use it, return to it, until it becomes the place you lead from. That's the shift, from always reacting to choosing, from proving to being. And here's the truth most never realize. Once you've claimed your own solitude, once you've built that space, trusted it, protected it, there's no loneliness left, because you're no longer waiting to be seen. You've already seen yourself. And Alpha doesn't need the room to understand him. He understands himself, fully, quietly, without negotiation. And that awareness makes him unshakable, because no one can take from you what you've already made peace with. 1 hour unplugged weekly, no phone, no conversation, no distraction. Reflective writing, one honest letter to yourself, unfiltered, not to be reread, only released. Silent walks. Walk 30 minutes without input. Let thought emerge. Non-negotiable space. Like Virginia Woolf's Room of One's Own, even 15 minutes daily in a space that is only yours.
When I'm alone, dark thoughts surface. I don't know what to do with them. Sometimes I think I'm broken. There's just emptiness. Then I want to know him, that part of me behind it all.
The mind speaks in images, the soul in silence. You're not broken. You're just now beginning to listen.
But what if I don't like what I hear?
Then stay longer. Truth only feels cruel when it's new. Let it settle. It becomes strength.
There was a day last week. I sat for almost an hour, completely still. No phone, no thoughts I chased. It felt clean, like maybe I'd finally made it. But then 2 days later I spiraled again. Old thoughts, old noise, and I felt like I'd failed.
Progress isn't linear. Stillness isn't permanent. But awareness, that's the compass. You notice the shift. That means you're no longer sleepwalking.
I think I found the place.
You don't hold on to it. You learn to return, again and again, until one day, it's not a place you visit, it's who you are. Welcome back. The modern man knows every influencer, but not himself. If you get quiet enough, you might finally hear the one person who can save you, yourself.
The next time someone says, "You're always by yourself. Why don't you come out more? You're too quiet." Let it remind you they don't understand what you're connected to, but you do. Don't let their discomfort distract you from your depth. The more often you return to your center, the quieter the world becomes, and the more steady your grip on your own clarity. You don't need to explain, you need to remain. Subscribe to Shadow Alpha and Lead from Within. Comment below. How do you relate to being alone? And what has it taught you about who you are?